Good evening. Good evening. Welcome to the Trails Committee meeting on 2/27/2025. I'm calling the meeting to order at 7:39 p.m. I'm going to do a roll call. Let me know that you're here. Satyanda Sharma,
Here.
Will Warren,
Here.
and Kat McKee here. Okay, so it's good to see you guys. I'm going to, should I pull up the minutes or have you had an opportunity to look at them?
Not enough of an opportunity.
Okay. So we have two sets of minutes. One is January 9th and the other is January 30th. So do we have a motion to approve minutes?
I move that we approve both sets of minutes.
Thank you. And a second.
I second it.
Great. And we'll do a roll call. Will Warren,
Aye.
Satyanda Sharma,
Yes.
Kat McKee. Yes. Motion passes. Thank you both. Okay. So now next up is we are chatting about the Phase 1 Mass Trails Grant. So our next step on this, since our paving is not going to happen until the spring, is we are going to start working on the signage. I have reached out to the contact that we made from the Trails Conference. The individual's name for the minutes is grab it. My cat is sitting on it. Hold on. Okay. Sorry, buddy. Is David Whedon, Weeden, and he was the contact that we made through Ron Chick, who had done some similar interpretive signage in Framingham. So supposed to have some resources on Native Americans in the area. So I'm hoping that contact will be a good one, and we'll get some maps and images, or not maps, but images and data that we can use on our signage. So that's that part of that. We don't have any more updates at that point. At this point, any questions? No. Okay. So phase 2 being the engineering piece, the bridge and the boardwalk. So things have moved a little bit slow. We were waiting for MWA to confirm. The engineers had reached out to them to confirm the bridge height over the floodplain, and so there's just a question that's going back and forth, and MWA's asked for some calculations and sketches so that they could see what it looks like. And then Beals and Thomas has been working on pulling together the bid documentation. I sent them the kind of like the old bid from last year. There was some contract information, standard terms and conditions, that need to be included in the bid. So while that information may need to get updated, it would be a placeholder. So they are moving forward with putting that information together. Once we have sign off from MWA, we should be in pretty good shape. This should come out in March. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give Melanie and Mark and Travis a heads up that this is coming, so we can get in line. Because does anyone know when the town meeting is this year?
April 7th.
Thank you. So it's going to get kind of busy up to that point. So we're going to want to try to get ahead of that. And see, and then there's also the public notices that we need to, the legal notices that we need to submit and such. So we need to reconnect with Melanie and to understand, and Travis to understand what that process is and what our timelines are. So at our next meeting, we'll have a good sense of the timelines and we can go from there. Any questions on that? Nope. Okay. Volunteer recruitment. So I reached out to the individual that had provided the form submission, and I'm waiting to hear back to see if that's someone who's interested in participating on the committee or if it's just interested in participating in work groups. So we will we'll take that up at the next meeting as well. And then I think, depending on the answer of that, spring, I think, is a good time to search for volunteers, especially as people are getting out, we're not quite there yet, but as they start to get outside a little bit more. So there may be some good momentum there that we can take advantage of, and see if we can get another committee member. And if either of you know anybody, feel free to send them our way and we shall see. Yep, that's that. And then next up is the closing out of our outstanding projects. So the only piece that we need to do here is really talk about, and I have some documentation from the town on funding, what we have left. So I just need to take a look at that, and we can take that up at our next meeting to see what money we need to spend, like if there's a little bit left for the interpretive signs, for like an interpretive sign along the Sudbury Reservoir Trail. We talked about, if you remember last time when we had Isabella on the committee, she had started to put together some information around trees and such, that we thought would be a good addition to the trail. I think we were thinking along Ward Road, or not Ward Road, but it's off of Northborough Road, I think, along that area that has that strong stand of pines. So I think it was in that area. But yeah, so that's that. Any questions on that?
Nope.
Okay, might be the quickest meeting we have this year. The DCR MOA work plan, so that was something in Tom's hands. So we don't have Tom with us tonight, so I'm gonna ask him to send that over to us, and then we will go ahead and try to get that knocked out in our next meeting. I think it's gonna be pretty straightforward. We're just looking for a maintenance plan that we can add to our DCR work plan, DCR MOA. So we can finish and say we've, crossed that T and dotted that I. So that's enough of that. The one thing I wanted to circle back on is, I think Will, on number 3, the phase 1, we had talked in the last couple of meetings, you had volunteered, maybe it was a volunteer, or maybe, I think it was a volunteer, that you would help us find, or maybe Satitu to help us find a resource perhaps that could do maps at a reasonable price, so that this would be for our kiosks, our signage for that. Is that something you're still open to assisting us with?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What trails are we looking to do this for?
This is just for the Peninsula Trail. So it's just the new section of trail where we're going to be putting a kiosk at the end where the gate and the paving is, at the very end there, and then potentially on the other side as well. So it would be the same map. So what we're looking for is someone who can draw maps, or use, obviously use GPS to design a map that will be professional enough looking for us to put on our signage, that can then be PDF'd and obviously put on our website also for reference. And it needs to be a cost-effective option. So that's
Do we have any, any
a draft.
examples of maps that we would like it to be in the
Yeah,
style of?
I do. I can give you an example. Like I used All Trails to draft, kind of a rough draft of what we have. So I can send that to you.
Yeah, send me to.
You
Yeah.
What is All Trails?
All Trails is an app that's used. It's a collection of trails around maybe the world, and people use it to navigate on trail while on trail. So it also, the paid feature has an option that will allow you to export a map that maybe you've walked the trail, and you can export that. So that's how I've been drafting some of our trails, but it looks much better when you have an actual map maker. Could talk.
Does Google Maps accept maps and trails?
I think they do. I think they accept, because they have the Sudbury Reservoir Trail / Burrows Loop Trail. They have trails on their Google Maps, and we actually need to reach out to Google because there's some missing information, so we could fill in the gaps. But it's not really the type of tool that you would use, not the Google Maps that we have access to. We're
I
look-
was walking today from Boston down to Chestnut Hill. And I was using Google Maps to direct me.
yeah.
And that was useful because it would tell me how far it was to the next intersection and when I should turn and things like that. I'm just wondering if there's a way to digitize it so that people could actually use Google Maps to sort of tell them the instructions of where they're going or whatever.
I like that a lot. So if you want to add that to your thought process and list on how we could, because I think that really that plays into our more inclusive trail map, right? For people who are visually impaired or need additional assistance. I think that's a really great tool. So if you want to add that and see what we can do.
Yeah, the only
Any kind of interactive map, right, is a really beneficial resource as well. So if you want to consider that when you're thinking about the people that you're reaching out to, ideally we get a PDF'd map, something we can put on a sign, but hey, we're thinking a little bit bigger. If we could have an interactive map, is there anything that we can do or that they would recommend? That would be really helpful.
Yeah, I mean, what I was doing is I had my earbuds in and so as I was walking along, it would tell me that I had another half mile to go this way or a mile to go that way and
Oh, that's awesome.
when to, in 600 feet, I have to take this exit or, whatever.
Yeah.
The only problem I had on the iPhone was that they've changed the look of things and it used to be pretty easy to say, I want a map of walking and I couldn't find that. So I was actually using a map for driving, but which was fine.
Yeah.
Because I was walking along roads anyway. That wasn't a big
Right.
deal.
Yeah.
Uh,
And go ahead, Sati.
No, to his point, I was just looking at the Google. So there is a Google support how to add hiking trails of Google Maps.
Oh,
Oh,
good.
perfect. Perfect.
And probably, I would hazard a guess that, when it comes to hiking trails, that they would also allow you to add extra stuff, to enrich it. So it's
Like,
not just, it's not, like, here's a point.
landmarks or
Yeah,
fun
landmarks. Or,
things to look at.
right, or, it could even be, here's a link to some more information about this particular area.
Oh, I like that. Yeah, and I guess as far as the interactive map goes, wouldn't it be great is if we could get all of Southborough trails on an interactive map? I know we were way back when the Central Regional Planning Center or commission, I forget what they're called, but they had a grant to create an interactive map and they did some GPS mapping in the town forest and but then we never heard from them. I'd followed up continuously, but it never went anywhere. So I don't know if they actually finished that project or just ran out of funding. But yeah, if we could like strive in our future and as you're researching resources, find a way, whether it's free or paid, paid needs to be obviously budget friendly. But if we could like focus on getting all of our maps in an interactive map, that would be really helpful. Similar to what the Burrows Loop has done. The Sudbury Valley Trustees has the resources and they've put the Burrows Loop as a interactive map. So you can go online and kind of see it on your phone and use that resource. So if you can, kind of keep that in the back of your mind when you guys are researching, that would be super helpful.
Yeah, I think, I mean, I know that it was extremely easy to, to use and gave me a lot of information.
Yeah.
And since I was since I had my earbuds in, I didn't really have to even look at the map while I was walking. It would just say,
Right.
you've got to continue on this road for a mile or whatever.
Yeah,
In 600 feet, you're gonna turn here or whatever, so that's very useful.
Yeah.
It's incredibly powerful, an incredibly powerful platform. If we can piggyback on that, I think that would be fantastic.
yeah. Yeah, so do you think, depending on when we meet next, do you think it'd be reasonable to try to collect some information before our next?
Sure,
That'd be
sure.
really, I think that sounds like a fun project too.
Yeah, I guess the the nice thing about that is that if it may be that we don't necessarily need to pay somebody to draft a map as much as we need to, perhaps generate or capture the geolocations of the trail, right?
Yeah,
And then feed that information. So that
Yeah, but
thing
how
that
would
Sati
we-
found would be great.
yeah, so how would we capture that?
Well,
Actually, do we,
actually, an iPhone may be sufficient in the sense that what you're doing is you're capturing waypoints or GPS coordinates.
yeah,
And that may not be 100% accurate, but it might be accurate enough for what we need.
yeah, and I also have a mapping tool in addition to All Trails. Gaia is a mapping tool, so say if we were to walk around the trails and we had an export from Gaia, that may be enough for them to layer on.
Yeah, I would imagine if they got a thing about, how do you get stuff into Google or getting hiking trails into Google, that somebody's done this and can give us some guidance as to what would be a low cost
Yeah.
approach.
Yeah,
So here's the thing. So if you go to your iPhone
Right.
and do the Google Map,
Mhm.
then you click onto somewhere, the hiking trail. There are few um, options. Suggest and edit, add a missing place. So if you can suggest and edit, Google will do in 2 weeks.
Eh,
okay.
That would be good. I mean, there may well be people who have done this already, and we can.
Yeah, that's what that forum I was talking about. Google Maps help.
Yeah,
So there's somebody asked that can I add my hiking trail, and they said yes. You need to select it and add.
Great.
Right.
Okay, you guys are in charge. Thank you very much for doing that. I appreciate it. Sati, for the minutes, let the minutes reflect that Sam Stivers has joined as a visitor. Thank you for pulling that up. Okay.
So Sam, we meet again. He was in a 5:30 meeting that I was part of.
Oh, probably the MPIC.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. Great. Okay, so I think that's all we have for tonight. We'll have more at our next meeting, because we'll be close to the bid and getting that out. So it will be a fun-filled meeting at that point. But any other questions or thoughts at this point?
Maybe I was asleep at the point, but when do you think, they will be able to move ahead with what we can't do right now? You said because of the weather, they can't.
The paving or
Yeah, the paving.
Paving,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, so that's going to be when the temperature is above 40 degrees. So when you see that happening on a consistent basis, actually, it might be a little different when you're thawing out from spring. They may want to see, you may want a month of warm weather so that the ground is in good condition, not just 40 degrees. So, but the thawing has happened. So we'll be in, probably won't be Q1, it'll probably be Q2 2025. So that would be April, May.
Okay. As long as we don't get the same people who paved Woodland Road.
Paved to Woodland Road.
Yeah,
I hear it has some divots, some big bumps.
it's very popular to the golf set.
Yeah. Okay. So speaking of next meetings, let's look at our calendars. Okay. How is the 13th? We might need 2 meetings in March if we are going to bid so that we can approve things and whatnot, but how is the 13th? It's a Thursday. At
We're not doing any presentations at the town meeting, right?
No,
Nope.
we're not gonna extend the time. Right, we're not gonna like, because I joke because presentations at town meeting makes it go longer, so what I'm joking about is like, no, we won't. We won't contribute to it being a longer town meeting.
I think it's gonna be a very happy crowd, don't you?
It always is a happy crowd, right?
Oh, yeah, it's gonna be a particularly happy crowd.
Okay,
Okay, what would be the date that you were saying?
13th, how is that for you, Sati?
It's okay.
Okay. And
The 13th is a Thursday. That would be fine with me, yeah, and it would be at this time.
Mhm. Yeah.
Okay,
okie dokie, so thank you all. I will send.
Motion adjournment.
Yes, I'll send you, Will, a map of I'll send both of you the map that we have of the Peninsula Trail so they understand the scope of that piece of project and then, yeah, and then we'll go from there. So we said the 13th at 7:30. Okay, so does someone want to make a motion to adjourn, please?
I move that we adjourn the meeting.
In a second.
I second it.
Great. I will, let's do a roll call. When I call your name, let me know. Will Warren,
Aye.
Satyendra Sharma,
Yes.
and Kat McKee. Yes, great. Thank you all, and I will see you on the 13th. Have a great couple weeks.
Thank you.
Okay.
Mm.